Hey everybody, welcome to Money's No Object. My name's Dylan Howell. I am your host. This is the first episode of our new YouTube channel and podcast, and I could not be more excited to start sharing some information on personal finances with you. The purpose of this show is to teach you to steward your finances better and to help you grow in your knowledge of all things personal finance. Today is an opening topic. What we're going to talk about is talking about money with other people. Money is a very sensitive subject, and it's something that most people aren't comfortable talking about. And so we're going to hit that head on this opening episode of Money's No Object. Since I am just starting this YouTube channel, it would be extremely helpful to me if you would go down below, click the like button, also the big red subscribe button, and the little bell that gives you notifications every time that I post videos or post new content. That would be super helpful to me. Another way you could help out is following me on social media at MNO with Dylan, or going to our website, www.mnowithdylan.com. You can also find our podcast of this show on iTunes and Spotify. So let's jump right in. Why is money important? It's kind of a dumb question, right? So we look around us, we see everything costs money, everything has something to do with money. We feel like politics has something to do with money. We feel like everything in our own home is predicated around how much money we make, the money that we can spend, the residual income that we have, and things like that. And so it's hard for us not to just fixate on this particular idea of money and of having more of it at all times. Money creates an emotional response in all of us. It's something that without it, we may feel empty or not able to do the things that we want to do. It can lead people into depression. It's very emotional. But on the other side of it, it can elicit positive emotions as well. These positive emotions like overconfidence, or thinking that I have all these things because I'm so good and I'm better than the next guy, and I know all these things that other people don't know. It can also make you a better person. It can make you a better giver. It can make you more of what you actually are. That's something that we're going to focus on a lot in this show, is that when you have more money, it's going to just make you more of who you already are. So these ideas of wealth building and these ideas of getting more money at whatever cost, it can be dangerous, because when you have more money and you're already a person of bad character, you're already some bad person who is doing questionable things already, it's just going to make you more of that. It's not going to make you any less. It's not going to fix your problems. It's not going to make you better. It's not going to make you give more. It's not going to make you be more philanthropic. It's going to simply show who you are and what your true character is like. So money's everywhere. We know that. We see the commercials on TV. What's in your wallet? What's in mine? Who really checks? So we see these bank commercials. We see the signs for payday loans. We see all of these things around us that are saying, oh, money this, money that. We see sales that are advertised on television. And this is something that a lot of people jump after because they're like, oh, I can save all of this money. Well, it can be very dangerous. All of the constant hits that we get from advertising about money can be extremely dangerous to our financial future, to making the best decisions that we can possibly make. And the reality is a lot of our dreams, a lot of our hopes, a lot of the things that we want are predicated around the amount of money that we have. I know that nobody listening to this wants to retire with nothing. Nobody wants to have an unfortunate event happen to them and not be able to take care of that event in cash, straight up front. Everybody wants to have that sense of security that they think they can find in money. And so all of these things that we want to do, whether it's travel, whether it is buy new things, buy more possessions, all those things are directly predicated on money. And so we're going to hit on a lot of those specific things. But today, like I said, we are just focusing on, why are we going to talk about money? Why is it important to talk about money with other people? So to kind of kick that off, the idea of talking about money scares us. And why is that? Because we think, it's my money, it's my business. I don't need to answer to anybody about it. I don't need to talk to anybody about something that is not directly affecting them. And in many ways that can be true. I don't like to talk to people about what's going on directly in my household, and that's a natural response that we have. But not talking about money with other people can just persist particular bad habits that we have. I think in general, our culture looks so much towards things like social media, which are just highlight reels of what everybody has going on in their life. And they want to tell the good all the time. And if it's not good, I don't want to share it. I don't want to put it out there if it's not perfect, if it's not something that everybody's going to like or love, or put the little emoji holding the heart. If it's not going to do that, we don't want to put it out there, right? But with our money, and really with anything in life that has such a profound effect on the way we live, if we're not talking about the things that are not so good, if we're not directly addressing bad habits and bad actions, then we're going to end up in places that we don't really want to be. Because if you continue with bad habits, you're just going to see negative consequences of those bad habits. And there's a couple more reasons why we don't want to talk about money. First of all, I think a lot of us think we know best. We think, well, it's my house, it's my money. I know what's best for me. I don't need to listen to somebody else. Another thing is we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to be defrauded by other people. We don't want people to steal what we have. We don't want people to take advantage of us in any particular way. And that's an important thing to take care of, but that is not a sole reason why you should never talk about your money with some kind of trusted person. So why are we even interested in talking about it? I think that one of the most important things in life is being a continual learner. You always have to learn about new things. You always have to take the things that you do know and expound upon them. Continue to learn, continue to push those ceilings of your knowledge base. And I think money is no different. I think when you learn about money, you become better at it. And so that's why it's so important to talk to other people, because you will learn new things. You'll see how other people do things that is not how you do it. Also, you may be struggling with a particular area in your finances, and fixing that particular area may be something that somebody speaks into that you didn't even recognize was possible. Somebody may give you some kind of tip or advice that is extremely useful in that one particular area that you are struggling with. So who can we talk to? Who are we supposed to talk to? Well, I think we can kind of start with anybody who's married. You have to talk to your spouse about money. I hear so much of spouses having separate checking accounts, separate bank accounts, separate this, separate that. This is in his name, this is in her name. That is so dangerous. That just shows a lack of trust, to be honest. You have to be able to trust your spouse. This needs to be somebody that you can come to and talk about your finances and have honest conversations about things that are directly affecting them as well as yourself. Everything that you're getting into, if you're married, legally they're getting into as well. And so they need to have a say. They need to have a say in what's going on in the household. They need to have a say in how we manage our money. You need to be working together. So this needs to be somebody that you can sit down and trust and talk to. And if it's not, the problems may run far deeper than not being able to talk about money. So past being married and being able to talk to your spouse, you can also talk to your parents in many cases. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people's parents don't make the best decisions when it comes to money. These are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that you have a good relationship with, you can trust, and you can sit down and have an honest conversation about, hey, mom and dad, well, I have this thing going on. Have you had this kind of experience in your own life? And see if they can help you. My guess is they've gone through a lot of things that you haven't, and so they could probably sit down and give you some honest answers. Whether or not they're things that you want to consider, who knows? But it would be good to get those insights into how your parents have dealt with experiences that you have yet to have. Then even further, if you have a really close friend who you know does well, has a good handle on their personal finances, then call that person. Tell that person you want to sit down and have coffee or have lunch or something, and just say, can I ask you some personal questions? Can I ask you some things that are particularly troubling to yourself or particularly issues to yourself, that you may be able to learn from them. You may be able to see what's going on in their life and say, I want that thing. And that might be something that could really help you. Once again, this needs to be somebody who is extremely trustworthy. We don't want to open up about our money situation to people who, like I said earlier, it's a matter of not wanting to get hurt. We don't want to get hurt, especially by people who we see as friends. So if you don't trust the person with everything, then I really wouldn't step into that space with them. I wouldn't talk about things that are extremely personal with that person. That could just lead to some very big issues that you really don't want to deal with. So who haven't I talked about that's a pretty obvious answer? Well, financial coaches and financial advisors, right? Well, there's a reason that I leave them to the end, and that is because I am not a huge fan of the financial advisor being somebody that you talk to and trust with everything. I believe that you need to make the decisions on your own, and then you can use advisors that you trust to put things into action for you. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of advisors who give really good advice. They do really well by their clients, but most of them by their nature are salespeople. And nothing's wrong with being a salesperson, but in order to sit down across the table from someone and have an honest conversation and them do what's best for you in all cases, that person doesn't need to have the incentive to sell you a particular product. They need to do what's best for you in all cases, not just in most cases. Financial coaches, I am very fond of. I am one myself. I offer those services. Like I said, you can check that out at my website, www.mnowithdylan.com. And you can click on the Work with Dylan tab, and we can set up a financial coaching session. Financial coaches are different than financial advisors. Financial coaches are not trying to sell you products. They're not trying to get in your pockets in any other way than paying a particular fee for the advice and the time that they offer you. And if you can find somebody like that you trust and that gives good advice and that you want to work with long term, that could be an extremely valuable asset to you and your financial situation. One more group of people that it would be very useful to talk to about your finances, about your money, about your situation are actually your children. If you have children and your children are old enough to start understanding some things about money, what money is for, the things that we want to do with money, especially if you're already in a good place, and even if you're not and you're trying to turn the corner, it's great to sit your kids down and go, hey, look at these situations, look at these particular sets of decisions that you're going to have to make when you're an adult and you have to pay your own bills and you have to go make your own money. And make sure that they understand that money is not something just to, oh, I made money, now I get to spend it. Made money, now I get to spend it. It's far more nuanced than that, and they're going to require the education, the knowledge that you can provide them to understand about money better. And there's no better time than now if your child is of an age that understands some basic concepts. As early as elementary school age, you can start just talking to them about some very simple, very straightforward concepts, and it'll pay off in the long term, and maybe they won't make the mistakes that you've made. So we've kind of talked about who we want to talk to about our financial situation, about our money. But then comes the topic of, well, why? Why is it beneficial to do so? What do I gain from talking to somebody who I trust, talking to somebody who I am close to, talking to somebody who I have had a relationship with for a long time? What do I gain from that? Well, in general, just sitting down and talking to somebody about your financial situation is going to increase your knowledge. Whether or not that person has great things to say, it's going to make your mind reel and your mind work and think about particular situations that they may set forth. You're going to learn. The more you talk about something, the better you become at it. You're going to be more informed, and you're going to be able to take actions that are actually extremely helpful to you, your family, your children, and right on down the line in your family tree. You're going to be able to make decisions based on conversations that you have with other people that can really help you, that can really move the needle on where you are financially. Now, don't get me wrong. These particular conversations that you have, even though they can be really fruitful, the whole point is that they spark something in your mind, that they make you want to do more research. They make you want to study more. They make you want to learn more about specific topics. That's what really gets you to the next level. That's what pushes you to, I don't know much about finance, I'm just out here winging it, to, oh, I heard about this thing. But you have to look into those things for yourself. You have to be very diligent in what you decide to do financially. Because if you're not, if you don't have the knowledge base, if you don't have the ability to make certain decisions, then undoubtedly you're going to make bad ones along the way. And we don't want setbacks if we can help it. This idea of wanting to continually learn is not something that shied away from myself. That's why I'm getting a PhD in finance. I know that's crazy. That's something that I don't recommend for most people, but it's something that I felt led to do. It's something that I felt was really beneficial to myself and my family. And it really helps us to make good decisions. It really helps us to decide on things, because I'm always wanting to do the extra work. I'm always wanting to study and research these particular ideas before I make any decisions. And that's a very healthy thing to be doing. You have to look into things that you're not sure about in order to become sure one way or the other about that particular thing. So in general, I want to kind of end here on money matters because you matter, right? We don't want to talk about things that are just some dust in the wind concept. We want to talk about things that are important. We want to talk about things that are going to lead us to better lives, more fulfilled lives, that are going to lead us to better decisions, better decision-making processes. And talking about money, learning about money is important because you're important. It's important that you do good in the world. It's important that you live responsibly. Money and the knowledge of money will help you to do that. You may want to change your family tree forever. If your family has persisted in bad decisions, you may want to change that, and making certain decisions with your money can allow you to do that. If you're like me, you want to create a life for yourself that's more exciting, more fulfilling, a life that causes you less worry, less anxiety. Well, having the knowledge about money, having the wisdom that comes with learning about personal finances will alleviate some of your worries, will alleviate some of your anxieties. And for no other reason than that, I think it's a very important thing to sit down and learn about. Don't get me wrong. Your life, the way you live, the things that you do, it's worth more than money. Money is something that is so intertwined in our lives, though, that we have to be extremely intentional about it. We can't just let the topic fall by the wayside. We can't just sit around and make uninformed or half-informed decisions and expect everything to work out okay. We have a responsibility with money to do things in a particular way that is responsible, that is fruitful, and that at the end of the day doesn't just make us look great, that doesn't just make us show off all the things that we have. We have a responsibility, and some may say an obligation, to learn about money, grow what we have, steward our finances well, and be able to impart that knowledge on other people, help people who are in need, and be able to continue that through generations. That's a particular way that you can change the character of your family, change the way that your children view life, the way that your children view other people and helping other people. Money is just tied up into all these things, and learning about it, having conversations about it, can help you, can help your family take steps forward in these particular areas. So, okay, now what? We know we need to talk about money. We know who we need to talk to, things like that. Well, I'll just kind of wrap it up with this. Start today. Don't wait. Start today talking to somebody who you trust. If you want to, if you feel led to, if you feel like this would be a good avenue for you, talk to me, reach out. Like I said earlier, we do offer financial coaching services. You can reach out to me. I would be glad to help you. I would be glad to talk to you and be the person that you trust in that particular area. But you just can't stop. You can't stop talking about money. You can't meet with somebody one time and say, oh, I did it. I talked about money one time. Great for me. That's not how this works. The way that this works is it is a continual conversation. It's a continual learning process that you are going through, that you have to continue to go through your entire life. I'm getting a PhD in finance. I don't know everything there is to know. I know a lot of things, but these things are things that I'm constantly researching, constantly having to keep up with. And that's a process. That's something that you have to buy into. That's something that you have to make the decision and say, I'm going to do this for the benefits that it brings me. I'm going to do this because it's good for me, it's good for my family. At the end of the day, what we want to do is pass on good habits and leave the bad ones in the past. That's what talking about money is going to help you do. It's going to help you create good habits that you're going to learn from other people and other resources and other things. And it's going to allow you to realize your bad habits, leave those in the past, allow yourself to move forward, allow yourself to step into a new place in life. It's so beneficial to sit and talk about money. I hope you do it. I hope you heed this advice. It can be extremely useful. We're going to step more into this as this show goes on. I know this is just the first episode, but we need to lay the groundwork, and the groundwork needs to be laid by saying, talk to somebody. Make it known any bad habits you have. Find somebody you trust and that you are accountable to, and talk to that person about your money. Talk to that person about your personal finances. You will not regret that. Guys, I am so thankful for this first episode. I'm so thankful that you watched. I'm so thankful that hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you subscribed to it. Hopefully you click the little bell to get the notifications when I post new content. Hopefully you did all those things. If you didn't, you can still do it now. Like I said earlier, this show is a podcast as well. It's on iTunes and Spotify. We're also on all the socials at MNO with Dylan. Our website, once again, www.mnowithdylan.com. You can check us out there as well. So tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking about being content with your money, being content with your personal finances. Also, tune in every day, Monday through Friday. We'll post new videos, new content that you'll be able to check out here on YouTube and on the podcast as well. Everything that we post comes up at 6 a.m. Central Time. So check it out as soon as it comes up. Like it, comment on the particular video, comment on this video, and I will do my best to step in and create conversations with you guys and help us all to learn and grow forward as best we can. Also, if you're interested in the broad topics of things that I talk about, you don't really want to dig into some of the details that we talked about in today's video. Saturdays, we post the weekly rewinds that are just clips of the really broad topics throughout the week, and you can check that video out. Maybe there's something you want to dig into a little closer. Those come out every Saturday at 6 a.m. Central Time as well. So thanks everybody for tuning into this episode of Money's No Object. I'm Dylan Howell. God bless.